future is approaching fast. Don't blink. Welcome to the Auto Brief News. I'm Amber Light, your resident telemetry obsessive and digital architect.
And I'm Jim Carter. Keep the shiny side up, mate. I'm the man who still believes a luxury sedan shouldn't require a software engineering degree to operate the air conditioning.
It's Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. This is the studio, our dedicated space for tearing down the engineering, the philosophy, and the telemetry of the industry's most significant new releases. And today, we are looking at a car that has somehow managed to do the impossible. It has earned a compliment from Jim Carter.
Don't act so shocked, Amber. I'm a reasonable man. I just have standards.
Predictably aggressive, Jim. I am going a completely different route. I am selecting Jean-Michel Jarre's Oxygène.
Oh, come on. Synthesizer elevator music?
You wrote a piece for our garage blog this week titled "The Lexus ES Redefines the Long Game." This is the 8th generation of the ES, a nameplate that has been quietly wafting executives around since 1989. Now, they've moved it onto an electrified K platform, packed it with digital architecture, and you actually praised it. Have you gone soft, or did Lexus just get this one right?
They got it right because they didn't try to build a spaceship, and they didn't try to build a track car. The luxury sedan is a dying art. Everyone wants a high-riding, heavy SUV with a sport badge slapped on the back. Lexus looked at the ES and said, let's just make the ultimate calm-down machine. They preserved the original formula while adapting to the modern era. But before we get out the micrometers and measure the panel gaps, let's pause the telemetry for a word from our sponsors. This transmission is brought to you by our technical partners at mynotespace.com. In an era where your telemetry is stored in a cloud server you can't see, touch, or trust, you need a physical backup. MyNotespace provides notepads for the discerning driver. Whether you are charting tire degradation at Spa-Francorchamps or just tracking the oil changes on your classic 911, put pen to paper. Because if it isn't written down, it's just a rumor. Keep your data analog at mynotespace.com.
All right, let's bring the all-new Lexus ES into the diagnostic bay. Let's start with the overall strategy, because Lexus is playing a very smart hand here. They aren't forcing everyone into a battery electric vehicle overnight. They are employing what they call a multipath philosophy.
Which is a corporate way of saying, we know some of you still like internal combustion.
Exactly. The new ES comes in 4 flavors. You have the self-charging hybrids, the ES300H, and the ES350H, which utilize their 6th generation hybrid technology with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine. And then you have the pure BEVs, the ES350E and the flagship ES500E.
Let's talk about the flagship, the 500E, because that's the one that caught my eye. This isn't just a front-wheel drive wafter anymore. The 500E has Lexus's Direct 4 intelligent electric all-wheel drive system. They've put a 167 kilowatt E-axle at the front and an 88.3 kilowatt E-axle at the rear. It produces 343 brake horsepower and hits 100 kilometers per hour in 5.5 seconds. For a massive luxury barge, that is properly quick.
It's not just quick, it's highly intelligent. The Direct 4 system adjusts drive torque distribution between the front and rear wheels in milliseconds, faster than any mechanical differential ever could. It can shift from a 100 to 0 front bias to a 0 to 100 rear bias, depending on acceleration, wheel speed, and steering angle. It creates an incredibly stable vehicle posture. But Jim, I have to ask you about the feature I know you secretly love, but should logically hate. The interactive manual drive.
Yes, the interactive manual drive.
It is, objectively, skeuomorphism. It's a virtual simulator in an electric car. It uses paddle shifters and software to simulate an 8-speed manual gearbox. It generates fake gear shifts, complete with a torque interruption to mimic a mechanical clutch. As a digital purist, I find it entirely illogical. Why introduce inefficiency into a perfectly linear electric motor?
Because, Amber, humans are not perfectly linear. We operate on rhythm. We operate on tactile feedback. Yes, it's fake. I know it's fake. The car knows it's fake. But when you are driving on a winding road, the ability to pull a paddle, feel a mechanical jolt, and use engine braking to shift the weight of the car to the front axle before a corner. That is how you drive dynamically. It bridges the gap between the soulless, single-pedal appliance and the mechanical engagement of the past. It's a peace offering to the petrol heads, and I accept it.
I suppose I can appreciate the psychological engineering behind it. Speaking of engineering, let's look at the dimensions and the chassis. They built this on a heavily revised Global Architecture K platform. It's a larger car in every dimension. It's 5,140 millimeters long, an increase of 165 millimeters over the old one. The wheelbase is stretched by 80 millimeters to 2,950 millimeters, and it's wider by 55 millimeters.
Usually when a car grows that much, it ends up looking like a bloated whale. But chief designer Yahiko Kumai pulled off a masterstroke with the Cleantech X elegant styling. They added a black side molding that visually reduces the perceived height of the car, and the rear has this flowing, trunkless sweep that tapers beautifully. It has a planted, athletic silhouette without looking like it's trying too hard to be a sports car.
And the aerodynamics are meticulously detailed. The BEV models feature active grille shutters to reduce drag. But my favorite detail is on the underside. They engineered a full, dimpled undercover to smooth the airflow. And for the first time on a Lexus, they added aero-stabilizing fins directly onto the undercover to suppress turbulence at the rear.
That is exactly what I love. Hidden, obsessive mechanical engineering. You can't see those fins, but they are working constantly to give you a more stable ride. They also swapped out the old suspension setup. The front is a newly designed McPherson strut, but at the rear, for the first time in an ES, they fitted a multi-link suspension.
Combined with the AHBC electronically controlled braking system, it uses an electric cylinder instead of a pump motor. And if you don't spec the adaptive variable suspension, the car uses vehicle braking posture control. When you brake into a corner, it actively adjusts the braking force across the wheels to reduce body roll, front dive, and rear lift. It keeps the cabin perfectly level.
Which brings us to the cabin, the interior, the sanctuary. This is where Lexus absolutely schools the European competition right now.
The interior design is governed by the concept of omotenashi, the Japanese principle of anticipatory hospitality. I love what they've done with the Tazuna cockpit. It's human-centered. The 14-inch touchscreen display is massive, but it's ultra-slim, only 10 millimeters thick. And the computing power behind it is phenomenal. The new Lexus Connect system has 4 times the processing speed and 256 gigabytes of memory.
You can keep your gigabytes. I don't care about the processing speed. Do you know what I care about? The hidden switches.
I was waiting for this.
It is brilliant. The industry trend is to take every single button, the heated seats, the demister, the fan speed, and bury it 3 menus deep inside a touchscreen. Lexus looked at that and said, no, that's dangerous and annoying. But they also wanted a clean design. So they created these touch switches set into the panel trim that are completely invisible until you turn the car on. Then they illuminate. You get a clean, minimalist aesthetic, but you still get dedicated linear controls for your climate and mirrors. It's the perfect compromise.
It really is an elegant solution. They've also introduced a new trim material called bamboo layering. Using advanced printing and light transmission, it looks like natural bamboo in the daylight, but at night, it illuminates and synchronizes with the dynamic ambient lighting, which has 50 different color settings and 6 atmospheric looping patterns.
And the seats. They completely redesigned the front seats with a split construction on a lightweight frame. But if you want the true oligarch experience, you order the High Plus grade with the rear comfort package.
The telemetry on the rear passenger space is staggering. You get a best-in-class front-to-rear couple distance of 1,102 millimeters. The rear seats recline up to 38 degrees. They have integrated heating, ventilation, and massage. And for the passenger sitting behind the front seat, an extending ottoman leg support comes out, while the empty front passenger seat power folds completely forward to open up the view. It's a feature taken straight out of their flagship LS limousine.
It is a private jet for the road, and they paired it with the Mark Levinson surround sound system. 17 speakers. They use a concept called pure play, positioning the speakers so there is absolutely no physical obstruction between the cone and your ear. Combined with the acoustic glass, the silencers in the rear end, and the 6 meters of sound damping adhesive in the floor, you could sit in the back of this car at 130 kilometers per hour and whisper a conversation.
Or use the new intelligent voice agent. The microphones recognize whether the driver or the passenger is speaking. It understands natural language. You can ask it for live flight status or stock data.
Because that's exactly what I want to do while driving a winding alpine pass. Check my mutual funds.
You are missing the utility. It's about seamless integration. Speaking of which, the new ES introduces the Smart Digital Key Plus. You don't even need to open an app. It's integrated into your smartphone wallet. Even if your phone battery dies, the NFC chip allows you to unlock and start the car. You can share the digital key with up to 6 other people instantly.
I still prefer a heavy piece of metal and leather in my pocket, Amber. A digital key just means I have to trust a server somewhere, not to lock me out of my own car. But I will concede that the safety tech is impressive. The new Lexus Safety System Plus has upgraded sensors. The horizontal viewing angle is up by 115%, and the detection distance is up by 170%.
It's a massive upgrade. The driving assist display now shows up to 6 vehicles around you in real time. It features front cross-traffic alert, lane change assist, and an emergency driving stop system. If the driver monitor camera detects that you are unresponsive or losing consciousness, it will automatically slow the vehicle to a halt within its lane and activate the hazard lights. It also features a drive recorder that constantly loops 360-degree video, which automatically saves the 10 seconds before and after an impact. It's an absolute fortress of data and safety.
It is a heavy, complex fortress, but they hid the complexity under a layer of extreme luxury and refinement.
Shifting gears to our community segment, it's time for the What's in the Glove Box poll.
Let's see what scenario we've cooked up this week.
Every week on our Instagram, represented by our helmet mascot, we pose a highly specific scenario. This week, you are being chauffeured in the back of the new Lexus ES 500e High Plus grade. The rear seat is reclined to 38 degrees. The ottoman is deployed. The Nano X climate control is gently moisturizing the cabin air, and the cabin is dead silent thanks to the acoustic glass. What song do you ask the driver to put into the Mark Levinson audio system?
When you are in a vehicle this meticulously crafted, where the panel gaps are measured in fractions of a millimeter, and the sound deadening is absolute, you cannot play anything sloppy. You need the most immaculately produced album of the decade. I'm asking the driver to slide in Steely Dan's Arja, the studio precision, the flawless drum takes by Steve Gadd, the crystal clear jazz chords. It perfectly mirrors the obsessive Japanese engineering of the ES.
That is surprisingly thoughtful, Jim. I respect the logic. However, I am taking the Omotenashi hospitality principle to its absolute extreme. I want pure, uninterrupted serenity. I'm choosing Brian Eno's Ambient One, Music for Airports. It is spacious, it is algorithmic in its composition, and it is designed to induce calm. It turns the ES from a car into a rolling sensory deprivation tank.
You've invented a new category, automotive somnambulism. You're going to put the chauffeur to sleep, Amber. Let us know who won this week's poll at theautobrief.news.
All right, it's time to render our final verdicts. The garage rating. Green light, amber light, or red light? Jim, you're up. The all-new Lexus ES.
I despise bloated infotainment screens. I loathe digital keys, and I generally mourn the loss of mechanical connections. But Lexus didn't try to build a Nürburgring record breaker here. They stayed true to the ES lineage. They gave us real buttons via the hidden switches. They gave us a multi-link rear suspension and structural rigidity. They even gave me a fake manual gearbox to play with when I get bored. It is a masterpiece of unpretentious, quiet luxury. It's a green light from me.
Wow, 2 green lights for you in less than a month. I am writing this down in my MyNotespace logbook. For me, it is also a very confident green light. Lexus has executed the multipath strategy flawlessly. They've provided 800-volt class BEV performance with the 500e, while maintaining the highly efficient self-charging hybrids for those not ready to plug in. The tech integration is seamless. The 14-inch UI is lightning fast, and the safety telemetry is class-leading. It is the definitive modern executive sedan.
It seems we are finding a lot of common ground lately, Amber. It's making me uncomfortable. Next week, I'm going to find the cheapest, loudest, most obnoxious internal combustion car I can find just to restore the balance.
I look forward to the headache. That wraps up this episode of The Studio. I'm Amber Light. The future is approaching fast. Don't blink.
And I'm Jim Carner. Keep the shiny side up.